okay? But now with time, that's when you will realize why it was important that you are taught, you are taken through this unit. So today we'll begin by just looking at issues of public health and hygiene. So you might have realized that by now it's just not about you as an individual, because you live in a community. Okay, here in the university, you are not studying alone. You have classmates. You possibly have a roommate. So it means it is just not about you as an individual, but as a person, you fit in a bigger society. That's now the public. And if you don't take care of your health, then you can easily infect other people. Because now you can imagine you are coughing in a class. You can imagine maybe you have some skin disease. Now uko na girlfriend, ama uko na boyfriend. So with such, then the infection you have can eventually spread to other people. So as much as you need to take, health begins with you, but it is important that you are healthy first before the entire public also gets healthy. Okay, because for example, around here, you eat in the mess, or possibly you go to hotels, or even you cook, but before you cook, you will have bought your food from a public place. Okay, so it means if you don't take care of the health of your immediate public, which begins with you, then you eventually endanger the health of other people. So let's try to define these two terms. So we are looking at public health and hygiene today, and we'll possibly see why it is more important to think of, for example, the health of the first years of Kibabi University, other than thinking of the health of a particular person as an individual. But before we think of the health of all the first years, it means we are looking at the first years, but to assess their health, we must assess the health of the specific individuals. So it means each of you has to be healthy first, because if all of you become sick, then we say all the first years are sick. Okay, so it's the health of the group, but for the group to be healthy, individuals in the group, each of the individuals must be healthy first. So health is not just the absence of disease. Okay, so you are just not healthy when, for example, you are not coughing or hauna malaria. You could not be having malaria, but you have a mental, something disturbing you mentally, or you have a social problem. So it is a state of both physical, social, and mental well-being. So that's when you say, I'm healthy. It means you are physically, socially, mentally, and these days people even want to add financially. Because now people argue that if you are not financially healthy, then it affects your mental or your social health in a way. So you don't just say, sababu sina ugonjwa, sina malaria, sina homa, sina nini, sasa. No, you could be not having a particular disease-causing microorganism in your body, but you have something that is bothering you. Kwa akili yako, boyfriend amekuacha, msichana amekuacha, ama uko na shida hapa Kibabi, huna pesa ya kuishi vizuri, umefungiwa nyumba na landlord, you know. So when you talk of someone who is healthy, then it has to be physically, socially, and mentally. The state of having all those three, the state of well-being from a social, physical and mental. Okay. And now when we talk of now public health, okay, so with the public health, it is about protecting and improving the health of people and communities. So you are talking of protecting, which means someone who is healthy, you try to ensure that that person does not become sick. And improving means someone who is not healthy, you now try to improve his state of health so that they can become healthy. And you are looking at protecting and improving the health of not a person, but people and communities. And how do you do this now? How do you do this practice of protecting and improving? You do it through education, like what we are doing now. We are trying to ensure that we give you ways of either protecting or improving your health. Okay, so that is one thing. You do it through education. You educate people, you empower them with knowledge. The second aspect you do is disease prevention. We'll see in the course as we proceed how you can prevent some of these diseases. And health promotion strategies. How do you promote the health of our people? Ensure that they are accessing health services. Ensure that, for example, they are vaccinated against some diseases that are common within that particular area that the community lives in. Okay, so a community or a group of people will be living in a particular place. So you look at the setting, hawa watu penye wanakaa kuna shida gani? Okay, kama kuna umbu, kwa mfano, most of the time you've had campaigns that people should sleep under mosquito nets. That is a health promotion strategy. Okay, you are told tujaribu kufieka, tusikue na nyasi, tusikue na ile maji, the stagnant water. That is disease prevention. Okay, then now through other ways you can be educated to ensure that people are protecting or improving their health. Then now that is public health. So with public health, you focus on the collective health of a population or a community rather than individuals. So in this setup, we are interested in how do we ensure that this group of people, we can protect their health, we can improve their health, but we are not thinking of how do I improve the health of a particular individual. In public health is about a group, a population, a community, and we will see why it is important to, for example, target the health of a community or a population rather than targeting the health of individuals. We'll see that as we proceed. So practices and behaviors. Okay, I'm being warned from this end that my internet is unstable, but I hope it will not break. Okay, so hygiene refers to a set of practices and behaviors that help to maintain the health and prevent disease. So with hygiene, what is it that you are doing? How is it that you are behaving so that you try to maintain your current status of health if you are not infected already, if you are not sick already, and if at all you are sick, how do we ensure that you now improve on your health status? And if you are not sick, how do we ensure that you maintain not being sick? And to maintain not being sick means you have to try and prevent the acquisition of what? Disease. So it means with hygiene, There will be aspects of personal. What is it that you do as an individual? What is it that you have to do with respect to the environment that you are living in, to the community? What should the community do? Okay, because if you as an individual umekuwa some particular standard of hygiene, but you are living in an environment or in a community that is still not to your level of hygiene, then now the community will be posing a danger to you as a person. So with hygiene is the practice, ile vitu unafanya, ile tabia unafanya. Kwa mfano, kuna watu kuoga ni ngumu, especially kulikuwa na baridi, mvua hivi, kuna watu wenye kuoga kidogo inasumbua. So how do we then ensure that we can help these people? Because if they don't have that body hygiene, chances are that they can acquire skin diseases. And because you share seats, you share many other things. Okay, you could borrow a lab coat from your friend. If that person has a skin disease, then you also pick it. So it means we have to try and help our friends improve on what they do, improve on how they behave, so that they can maintain good health and prevent disease. Okay. So these practices, these hygiene practices are essential for our overall well-being. So which means if you are talking of social, if by being healthy, you also need to have a social well-being, it means lazima uanze kuchagua marafiki zako. Your hygiene must also begin from the friends you keep. Okay. So we'll see that as we proceed. So in general, public health and hygiene focus on disease prevention, health promotion, and improving the quality of life by ensuring that where we live, the conditions of our living environments are safe. Because once they are safe, then there is that ability to prevent us from acquiring disease. Okay. So we've seen public health, but is it important? So public health is important, one, because it looks more at preventing disease and controlling disease, if at all it is already within the population. So if people have already been infected with a particular disease, then you try and control it. Okay. But if the population doesn't have a particular disease, if the population is healthy, then you try to prevent them from getting that particular disease. So the efforts in public health, they aim to reduce the spread of infectious and non-communicable diseases. Okay, we'll see the difference as we proceed. So how is this done? There is vaccination, sanitation, ensure kwamba unaoga, unaosha malazi, unaosha nguo. Then you now have the public awareness campaigns. Public awareness is now targeting the community that you live in. Okay, public awareness is now telling the public that we have this particular disease, we have these particular dangers, and if we do this and this and this, we reduce chances of us getting infected with this particular disease. The second thing, so the first importance is it has an aspect of disease control and prevention. Then the second bit is health promotion. You are trying to promote the health of people, because you are encouraging them to adopt some healthy behaviors. You are encouraging people, for example, to eat balanced diets, to exercise regularly, to avoid taking tobacco, alcohol, to avoid sleeping around with just any other person without protection if you don't know the status of that person. So you come up with ways in which you encourage people that if you have to live in a healthy way, then this is how you do. If you have to eat some balanced diet. Hata kama unaona we ni mdosi, kimbia, tembea saa ingine. Kama ni pombe, punguza. Okay? The best is don't, but at times it's difficult to tell people to stop. So you tell them, have regulated alcohol intake. For tobacco, just avoid. Okay? So you are promoting the health of these people. You are telling them that live a healthy lifestyle. Okay? For you at your age, it's difficult to tell you not to play sex. So all we tell you is if you have to play sex, the first is abstain. The second is be faithful. Of course, you'll be faithful to someone who has the same status as yours. That's also a healthy lifestyle. Okay? Then, if it's so difficult to abstain, if it's so difficult to be faithful, then you go to C, where now you condomize. You use a condom. Use protection. Okay? Because if you are not abstaining, you are not becoming faithful, you are not using a condom, then you go to D, which is you will die. Okay? So the ABCD, that is health promotion. Because you tell people, adopt this type of life, adopt this lifestyle. Itakupunguzia shida. Okay? Public health also helps to improve life expectancy. Life expectancy is the average number of years with which people within a population live. Okay, so if you can think of, we come from different places. You will realize maybe in some areas, utapata, most people will die by age 70, 75. Others will die by 80. Others will die by, so that is the life expectancy. One of the factors that determine life expectancy is the health status. If you have a population that is having a very high level or high standard of health, then you expect that people will live long, because possibly these people ate balanced diets, they exercised regularly, which means they don't have the non-communicable diseases, hawana diabetes, hawana obesity. Okay. They walijaribu wakawachana na maneno ya pombe. They stopped sleeping around just with any other person. So such people will have an increased life expectancy. And in case if they became sick, they were able to access health services. So if you do a good job with public health, if you can help to control and prevent disease, if you help to promote the health of a particular community, then we now come to the fourth importance of public health, which is reduced healthcare. So when people have been able to control and to prevent certain diseases from where they live, from when they prevent their ability to contract these diseases, then hawataenda hospitalini kulipa gharama, kulipa bill ama kulipa pesa ili watibiwe. So when you have very improved public health information in a particular community, then generally the cost of healthcare will reduce, because the diseases have been prevented before they occur. Kabla uumwe na umbu, ulikuwa umelala ndani ya neti. Okay? Kabla upate some STI or an STD, you either were sure that the person I'm dating, I know the status of this person. And if I don't know the status of this person, then I will use prevention. So you did not contract that disease. So you are not going to hospital. Haulipi bodaboda ya kwenda hospitali, hautalipa pesa. Now that SHA inasumbua, hautalipa pesa hospitali. The other importance is the well-being, the general well-being of our population. Remember we said, for you to be healthy, then socially, mentally, and physically, you should not have a social issue, a mental issue, or a physical issue. So through public health, if we reduce the occurrence of these diseases, then we are ensuring that socially, mentally, and physically, the population is doing well. And if that is the case, then we enhance productivity. Okay. Kama tungekuwa wagonjwa kwa mfano, hatungekuwa na hii darasa. Okay. Kama ukikuwa mgonjwa, kama unafanya kazi pale fulani, hautaenda. Then usipoenda kule, hautalipwa. Maybe you use a bodaboda, you use a public means. Even if you are driving, for example, you need to go to the petrol station. So if you are not going out, then people who rely on you for their income will not get it. So you are reducing the productivity of the entire population just because of sickness. But if we prevent, if we ensure that the health of the public is well taken care of, then we will enhance how productive people are. Mwenye anatakana kwenda kazi, ataenda. Mwenye anafungua kibanda, atafungua. Mwenye anaenda kufunza shule, ataenda. Then generally, the quality of life will also be enhanced. Okay, so we'll move and now look at some components of public health. So within public health, there are various things that we look at, and one is epidemiology. Epidemiology refers to the study of the distribution and determinants of disease within population. So there are various components that will determine whether a disease occurs or not. Those are now things like the causative agent. Kama ni malaria, lazima tukue na mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquito. So if we don't have people who come from central, kama unatoka Laikipia, Nyeri, huko hakuna malaria. So just because the environment there is not conducive for the female Anopheles mosquito to grow. Okay, so it means what determines the presence of that disease within that particular population is not available. So when you are looking at how a particular disease is distributed, you also look at what is it that determines whether this disease is there or not. Because when you are looking at public health, you are trying to break contact ya ile kitu inasababisha ugonjwa na mwenye atapata hiyo ugonjwa. Unajaribu kukata hapo katikati. Okay. If you are sleeping in a mosquito net, inamaanisha umbu haitakupata. We've broken that contact. So with epidemiology is about the distribution. You are studying how the disease is distributed and where the determinants of whatever it is that causes that disease. For a disease to thrive, for a disease to happen, we need the causative agent. For example, malaria. You will need the plasmodium. That is the pathogen. Then you need a vector. What transports that particular disease-causing agent to whoever will now suffer, which we call the host. So there are three things. You have the pathogen, what causes the disease. You have a vector, what transports, and you need now to have a host. So you look at those three things in any public health aspect. You must try to understand kuna ugonjwa pahali na hiyo ugonjwa iko distributed namna gani. Okay? Then when we talk about environmental health, it's about the external factors. Okay? The external factors within our immediate environment. You have things like air, the air you breathe, the water, ile unaoga ama unakunywa, the soil that you walk on, or even the soil that you plant food on. So when all these aspects, when all these external factors have disease-causing organisms, then the people that live within that particular area are at risk of suffering from the disease. Umeona watu wenye wako na jiggers, unaambiwa a particular soil type ndio iko associated sana na jiggers. That's the type of the soil, the quality of that soil. Okay. So with the environmental health, you are looking at managing those external factors. Do we have pollution in the air? Do we have pollution in water? Do we have even pollution in sound? Kama wewe unaishi na jirani yako, are you playing loud music? Okay, so someone wants to sleep because you are sharing a hostel, but you are still playing music at 3, or you brought your girlfriend and you are still making a lot of noise at 2 a.m. yenye inafanya your neighbor halali. Pollution. Okay, so we have to come up with ways of now managing such factors so that we can prevent the occurrence of health risks. If the air is polluted, we have to find a way of ensuring that that pollution does not happen again, and we have to stop that pollution at that particular time. Okay? Just a minute. Someone walked into the office. Acha nimuongeleshe 1 minute alafu ni. Okay, so we proceed. The aspects, the activities that we engage in so that we encourage healthy behaviors. That is now health promotion. Wakati ya COVID, we could see all manner of advertisements on TV. Okay, so the population was being encouraged to adopt certain behaviors, so to adopt certain practices so that we can prevent a particular disease. You must have heard adverts about how to prevent AIDS, for example, how to prevent malaria, for example. So all that you are doing in a health promotion setup is you are trying to encourage people or a community to adopt some healthy behaviors. Okay. But at times, we can try to prevent. You can try to encourage people to adopt a healthy behavior, but still, you'll find some people contracting the disease. So in such a case, then we'll have healthcare services. Okay. So where there is medical assistance that is provided, okay, through the provision of these services, either in hospitals, clinics, and even vaccinations that are given by the trained healthcare providers. In almost every country, there must be a policy and a law to ensure that there is a legal enforcement for certain healthy behaviors. Okay. For example, we have smoking bans. You cannot just begin to smoke in auditorium B katikati ya lecture na unawasha sigara unaanza kuvuta hapa. Okay. There are some sanitation laws. Huwezi amuka tu na uchafu uanze kumwaga kwa barabara. Utashikwa. Then for disease prevention, there are vaccination programs and there are laws that have to ensure that as a parent or as a person, you are required to be vaccinated against a particular disease-causing microorganism. So with the policy and law enforcement is about a government coming up with the rules. Kusema, hakuna kuvuta sigara kila mahali. Ukitaka kuvuta sigara, ensure you are alone because there's what we call passive smoking. If I'm smoking, na wewe umekaa next to me, you are equally smoking. Because hiyo moshi, wewe pia you are inhaling it. Okay. So hii ni sheria ile imewekwa ili kuhakikisha kwamba some health challenges which are preventable cannot be brought about to you just by someone else who is a bit careless. So hygiene now comes in various types. One is personal hygiene. That is about you as an individual. And it involves kuoga regularly, kuosha mkono, kubrush meno, na pia nguo najaribu unavaa ile imeoshwa. Ikiwezekana kama imepigwa pasi, ikiwezekana. Okay. So it is just about what you do as an individual to ensure that you are neat, you are clean. Because anytime you have dirt accumulating on you, then you now are encouraging a disease-causing microorganism to begin living on your body. Because they are parasites. So they will want to now live on you. But if you are trying to bathe, unaoga, unaosha mkono kutoka kwa choo, ama ukishika anything dirty. So all you are trying to do is you are trying just to ensure that if you in any way had contact with a particular disease-causing microorganism by ukioga, sababu unatumia sabuni, povu ya hiyo sabuni, it breaks, we call inaharibu the envelope or the outer membrane ya hiyo disease-causing microorganism. Okay. So personal hygiene ni wewe kujaribu kukua msafi so that you can prevent infections. In this case, personal hygiene even means being selective even in your relationships. Okay. Personal hygiene then will also mean being selective with the type of friends that you keep, because we said being healthy is about physical, mental, and social. So physically, umeoga, umefanya kila kitu, but uko na marafiki wenye wanakuambia tufanye hii, tufanye hii, tufanye hii. So socially, you are not healthy. Then mentally, there is something that is disturbing, so you will also not be healthy. We will see how you can deal with the social and health mental aspects. The other bit is food hygiene. So how do you handle food? How do you prepare food? How do you store it? Because at times, they infect, where food acquires the disease-causing microorganisms is about how you store it. Okay. The aflatoxin, labda mmesikia hiyo. Aflatoxin grows kwa mahindi or in cereals with the poor storage. So it is a post-harvesting issue. So here, most of you, maybe a few of you cook, but even if you cook, how do you cook? Do you ensure that the food is properly cooked? If the food was supposed to be washed before cooking, did you wash it properly? Then if you have to store the food, because you might prepare something, eat, na ugundue kwamba haijaisha, so unasema uwezi mwaga hiyo chakula, wacha uweke utakula baadaye. How do you store it? Because when you now come to eat later, it can easily cause you a health problem. Someone has raised, mtu amebeba mkono. What's the problem? Or do you have a question? Whoever it is that has raised. Joel Ngome. Joel Ngome has raised his hand. Joel, could you just type? Could you just type whatever you have? Then I can deal with it. Okay, just type, Joel, the question or the issue that you are having, then I will deal with it. So food hygiene is how you handle, how you prepare, how you store that particular food so that you can prevent contamination. Because once the food is contaminated and you eat it, then you also become contaminated by now the organisms that were on the food will now be inside you. Then hiyo ndio itasababisha ugonjwa. With food hygiene, you might also need to choose where you eat, in which hotel, kama ni hapa around. I understand comrades might want the cheapest, but also there has to be you try to strike a balance between cost and hygiene. Okay, because why save 10 shillings and spend 100 sababu umepata shida ya tumbo? So there has to be a balance between that. With environmental hygiene, you are now looking at how do you ensure that the immediate area where you are living in is clean. We ensure by disposing our waste. Okay, disposing waste properly. Okay, if you are living in a hostel, ukifagia room yako, there must be bins zenye unaenda unaweka hiyo uchafu. Because if everybody angefagia room na sukume nje ya mlango, you can imagine how now the environment within that hostel will be dirty. Because yes, your room as an individual, your room is clean, but you are now dirtifying an area that is accessed by everybody, by the public, which is the corridor. So usually, utaona kwamba in every place, at least there is a compost pit, ama there is somewhere, some bin, penye unaweza fagia room yako na uende uweke uchafu hapo. Then watakuja wachukue hiyo uchafu waende nayo. Kama umeosha nguo, kama umeosha vyombo, your utensils, hiyo maji unamwaga wapi? Wewe ni mtu unasimama kwa mlango na bora umemwaga maji nje ya room yako, ama unaenda unaimwaga mbali. Okay, because we want to ensure that the environment, the surroundings that we are living in are clean. Okay, sababu if the environment that we are living in is not clean, then we run a risk ya kupata ugonjwa, all of us. okay? Because we are accessing that environment, all of us. The other bit of hygiene is occupational hygiene. So for you, where is it, for example, in the lecture hall, penye umekaa na wenzako, in the library, okay? You need to take measures to ensure that pale umekaa hapo iko safi. Because if we identify where we work, where we access all of us, then we are risking people that we sit with or we interact with in that space. In this case, you might think of things. Okay. You might have issues in the public. For example, you are all of you now, we are having this class online, which means either you are following it using your phone or your laptop. So imagine if you are listening to this in the library. Well, you can unaweza sikiza bila kutumia headphone, or you can choose to use headphones. To make it proper so that you reduce pollution, you use headphones. If not, then toka penye watu wako, enda kaa mahali penye utakuwa peke yako, so that how you are not sort of forcing people to listen to what they don't want. Because think of it, if we are having 2 or 3 online classes now, and you and your immediate neighbor, wewe uko kwa hii, yeye ako in a different class, which is still online, but both of you hakuna mwenye anatumia headphone, so nani atakuwa anasikiza mwingine? Okay. So at the end of it, it becomes just noise. So you have to ensure in such a place that, how do I do what I'm supposed to do? Your occupation now is a student. So how do you do your occupation in a way that will not endanger ama kuumiza mwenye ninakaa na yeye hapa? Okay. So you have to take certain measures to prevent risks, to prevent disturbance, to prevent exposing other people to things that they will not want to be exposed to. Then there is an aspect also of mental hygiene. Okay. Most of us now, kuna hiyo wanasema msongo wa mawazo. So we have issues that are stressing us. But now, how do we ensure that we deal with this issue? Because you cannot stop them from happening, but you can choose how to respond to those issues in a way that does not endanger you or the people around you. Okay. So we need to come up with now practices So you need to come up with ways, for example, to ensure that you are not, when you are stressed, how do you manage that stress? Because we cannot say you will never be stressed. You will, for sure. Okay, but now how do you manage that stress? Umeachwa na girlfriend, ama umegongewa, the way you guys always say. Okay, so ukigongewa, what do you do? Of course, utakuwa na stress. But now you don't go kwa barabara huko ugongwe na gari, ama uwezi panda paka huko juu na uruke hu. There has to be a way. So within the university, for example, find someone you can talk to. You can go for counseling, go for to the dean of students. They will have a desk. Find a lecturer who is a friend to you whom you can confide in, or find someone that you can talk to. Okay. So with mental hygiene, we are looking at practices that support your mental well-being. And with this, it includes even the types of friends that you keep. Okay. With that, it includes the type of friends that you keep. So we've seen public health, we've seen hygiene, but what are the most common concerns in public health? So we have diseases that are infectious. Talk of malaria, TB, or anything that is caused by a bacteria, a virus. So you're talking of diarrhea, you're talking of all those things. So those are infectious diseases. Okay. With these ones, you will always see some campaigns, kwamba fanya hivi uepuke kupata hiyo ugonjwa. Okay, because people are concerned, for example, that ukipata TB, ukipata malaria, ukipata HIV, if, for example, you got a bout of diarrhea, itakusumbua. Okay, so there must be areas of concern in which the public is cautioned to be careful. So we have the infectious diseases, then we have the non-communicable or non-infectious. So there are some diseases that you cannot infect someone. For example, diabetes, some heart disease, obesity, cancer. They cannot be transmitted from person to person, but they are more about the lifestyle. Okay, so which lifestyle unaishi maisha yako namna gani? Are you eating a balanced diet? Okay, are you seeking counseling, for example? Are you exercising? So if you are not doing that, then you are likely to get an uncommunicable disease. For the infectious diseases, is about prevention. Are you sleeping in a net? Okay, you are likely not to get malaria. Do you ensure that there are no mosquitoes in the area that you are living by kutoa stagnant water, by ensuring that hakuna bushes around? That is how you prevent the infectious diseases. Then the aspects of environmental pollution. These days, unaamuka tu asubuhi watu wametupa uchafu pahali. So how are we ensuring that our environment is not polluted? Because if we pollute the air, if we pollute the sound, okay, if we pollute the land, then eventually people living in that particular environment will also be affected. Because with the air pollution, we breathe, so a respiratory disease. With the water pollution, unakunywa ama unaoga, skin disease. Okay, so we have to ensure that we don't pollute, we don't put chemicals in the environment, we don't put pollutants in our immediate environment, so that people living in that area cannot become sick. Malnutrition and food safety. We talk about balanced diets. Okay, we talk about keeping your food safely. Okay, how do you store mahindi? Kama umevuna mahindi yako, utaweka wapi? Utaweka namna gani? We are looking at food safety. One, the food has to be safe so that when you eat that food, you don't become sick. But also, two, the food has to be safe so that it can be eaten by people who need it. Because if there is no food, then the population, mostly the young ones and the elderly, will suffer from undernutrition. Okay. Then now the mental health issues. How do we ensure that the current levels of depression, anxiety, stress-related disorders, all these things that are affecting our productivity and our well-being, how do we ensure that we reduce them, that we prevent, that we deal with them? How do we go about it? Because they are now a real issue. Labda umesikia kuna mtu amejinyonga, kuna mtu ameanguka kwa maji, All these things just shows that we have mental health issues within the society, within even this university. So we need to come up now with ways of engagement to ensure that as much as we cannot stop the occurrence of these issues, but we can stop the deterioration of the people that are affected with them. Then aspects of clean water and sanitation. So anytime, if you came to this university, now watu wenye the cleaners hawajaosha choo, I'm sure you don't even care so much if the lecture hall is clean kama walifagia more than if the toilet was washed. Okay, because you will know from the very first time ukiingia tu unaona ai hapana hii choo ijaoshwa. If they will not clean the toilets for a day and they don't even, because lecture halls are not even swept daily, but toilets are cleaned daily because the level of sanitation that we need in certain facilities is higher than the ones that we need. Because if we have poor sanitation, then we'll easily have diseases coming up. So having looked at all this, which strategies then can be employed to ensure that public health and hygiene are being promoted within communities, within Kibabi University, for example? So one is the intervention of the powers that be. So within the university, for example, they've created this course. There's a way in which the university has intervened. So you talk of government intervention. In a university setup, the government is the university leadership. So there will be policies that will be implemented or will be created by the people in leadership to ensure that once these policies are implemented, then public health and hygiene standards will be improved. Okay. Then two, the community awareness campaigns. So you have educational programs. In certain societies, especially in Northeastern na huko Masai, you go there and you still find, because there is a lot of open defecation. Hizi choo zenye watu wanaenda msituni huko ziko sana. So even up to now, you have programs, people moving around to educate the population on the importance of not using the bush. Okay. So why? Because they are trying to make the community aware that if you do this, you endanger, you reduce the hygiene levels. And when the hygiene levels are reduced, you are likely to suffer of certain I think there was a problem with the Zoom. That will proceed. Then currently we have technological innovations. There are people who use apps on their smartphones kufanya mazoezi. There are people who've come up with apps to ensure that to lead you into your morning exercise. There are people who've come up with apps, for example, to help you check kama they don't call a BMI, the body mass index. Inakuonyesha, are you likely to suffer from obesity or not? And all you need to do to calculate the BMI, you need your weight and your height. So kuna watu wamekuja na apps, wametengeneza an app on your phone, you get it on you download it, install on your phone, your smartphone. Then now you keep checking of course, your height is difficult to change now, but you can change your weight. Okay. You can play about with your weight in a way. So that is an aspect of technology. You use that aspect of technology to monitor your health. Okay. Then you teach in schools aspects of health education. This is a perfect example where you are being taken through why it's important for you to maintain certain hygiene levels, why it's important for you to have a healthy lifestyle so that you can prevent diseases. And it is encouraged that this has to begin at a lower level, at an earlier age, so that it becomes part of the culture or the upbringing of the population that will be engaged. Then the last bit is the public-private partnership. So you come up with the public or the government collaborating with the private organizations to improve health access and even facilities. So you could see, for example, juzi ungeona town, some private hospitals kama Hopkins, at times they come up with clinics, wanakuja hapa kupima HIV, kupima nini. That is a public-private partnership. Wanakuja hapa, they begin to talk to people about some things. We've had NCBA, the bank, doing that. So the bank is private, the university is public, but they are now partnering. They are collaborating. Okay. And as they are collaborating to ensure that certain aspects of health access and even facilities, because they will come here and help to do some tests, then talk to people about their results, explaining. So that's a public-private partnership where a public organization and a private organization are collaborating to ensure that the public has a higher level of access to some healthcare facilities. So in essence, okay, the last bit is about emergency preparedness and response. This came out very well during the COVID problem, okay, where you had, they set up all these people, wakisikia kwamba mtu ameonekana mahali na COVID, they come pick you, then they take you somewhere so that they can try to reduce the possibility of a disease outbreak. If that particular outbreak happens, then it will create a public health emergency. If there was a fire here, okay, there will be a response in a way that fire tenders will come. What the fire tenders are doing, they are coming in rapidly to ensure that the fire does not spread. Because if the fire spreads, itaumiza watu wengi. So that is about how we should be prepared to deal with emergencies by the way in which we respond. So in conclusion, public health and hygiene are very crucial. They are so crucial in maintaining not only the well-being of individuals, but also the entire community. We saw the importance of that, okay? But when you are dealing with the health of the public, it's more important than when you are just dealing with the health of an individual. But what is important is for us to realize that an individual is part of the public. So each of the individuals in the population has to try and be healthy. Then if each of us is healthy, then the entire public will also be healthy. So when you practice proper hygiene, when you follow the laid down policies, when you participate in awareness programs, then as individuals, we will be contributing to a healthier society. Okay. So most of the public health strategies, education, and as we've seen, technology, where you now have apps on your phone, all this, they play very key roles in how to prevent the occurrence of disease and eventually now ensure that the overall health of the population is promoted. So that's it about aspects of public health, aspects of hygiene. We saw that health is not just the absence of disease. So you are just not healthy because umeenda hospitali wameangalia wamekwambia hauna malaria. Labda uko na stress, then you are not healthy. So health is a complete state of social, physical, and mental well-being. That is health. Okay. And public health is how you protect and improve the health of people and community. You do that through education, disease prevention, and health promotion strategies. So with that, you are looking at the health of many people more than you would look at the health of an individual. Okay, so that is public health, and we've seen its importance. We've seen its importance. So hygiene is about what you do, is about how you behave so that you can maintain your health and also prevent disease. So with hygiene, ni ile tabia, ile vitu unafanya kuhakikisha kwamba uko na afya mzuri na kuhakikisha kwamba haupati ugonjwa. That is hygiene. Okay. Yes, if there are questions, I'm happy to answer. If there are questions, I'm happy to answer. So you can lift up your hand. You can lift up your hand. There are people who have lifted up their hands. I think the Odell group can help me to unmute them. Then they can ask.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, Gilan Odhiambo. Yes.
Thank you for giving this opportunity. Okay, I would like to advise you that share with us the notes. Yeah.
The notes I shared. I shared with your class reps.
I mean on the screen.
Oh, but that's a. Well, yes, I will do that. If there's a question that will need me to go back, I think there was a problem with Zoom. Ilifika mahali ni kama kulikuwa na shida ya internet hapa university.
Okay.
Nafikiria ndio screen ilitoka.
Because we are taking short notes.
But everybody has these notes, isn't it? I sent them through your classrooms.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can, if you want to, then I can do it. But I think all of you have the notes that we've used today, the way they are.
I think, Doc, the best way we can upload it to the e-learning portal, they get it from there.
Yeah, because I met the class reps na wakasema sijui watu wengi wanakuwa na issues. Sasa nikaona nikapatia class reps, but still I'll upload them on the e-learning portal. Okay, I think that's solved. Any other? Naona watu wengine, it tells me 4 participants have raised hands. I see Tobias, I see JKS, I see Joseph,
Yes,
and I
yes.
think
Sir. Good morning. Thank you. This is Joel. I'm asking, do you have a difference between sanity and hygiene? Because I'm getting difficulties to understand this between sanity and hygiene, kindly.
sanity. Sanity is about being sane. And when we talk of, okay, so someone can tell you that person is not sane. In English, hiyo inaweza kumaanisha kwamba labda unasumbukana na akili yako. Someone is sharing. I don't know who is that. Who is sharing? Someone is sharing the screen. I don't know if it's meant for me. So you can be told that check on your sanity, which just means at times check on your behavior. Okay? Check on your behavior. That's from an English perspective. But when we are talking of sanity, because it's about where that word is used. So sanity and sanitation. Sanitation is a process of ensuring that there is cleanliness. So when someone says that person has issues of sanity, then it means possibly your behavior is not clean. That person is insane. Hivyo ndio wanasema kama ni mtu mwendazimu ama unafanya vitu zenye zinakaa weird, then you are told, that's an insane case, just because of your behavior. So sanity is about cleanliness. Sanitation is the process of creating cleanliness. But when you are talking of, depending on where the word is used, okay, so when you say that is an insane, that is insanity, then it's about what you are doing as a person, which means it is not in line with the ethos, is not in line with what the community expects. If you walked in, for example, this morning, we get to go university naked, watu watasema hapana, that's an insane case. Why? Because you are doing what people think ni wendazimu ndio wanafanya. Okay? Ukianza kupiga tu kelele kwa darasa in the middle of the class, then people will say, that guy has gone insane. Sababu tabia yako imekuwa mbaya. So sanity is about cleanliness, but the way you use a term means the way that term has been used so much in English is about behavior. How are you behaving? Then how does the community expect you to behave? So if you behave well, then you are taught not to be insane. But if you don't behave well, then you are insane. Someone asks, please daktari, VCT ya Kibabii iko wapi? We have a VCT center in the university. You go to the health services hub. Okay, go to the health services, you will get it. But we'll see that in HIV when we begin, I think in our next lesson. You can do the test in your house. Okay, you can do the test in your house. So you can go to a chemist, buy whatever you buy, then come and test yourself. The only problem na personal testing, unaweza jinyonga. Ukitest uone inata positive na uko peke yako, you know. So that's usually the main challenge if you want to do a personal test. But you can buy the kit, the self-test kit. I think it was the last time I checked, it was around 500 sheets. I don't know. Sijui kama imebadilika. How can I test myself? Go buy the kit, then enjoy. Okay. Someone says, please send the link a day before the class. Hiyo link yenye tumetumia leo ndio tutakuwa tunatumia kila Monday. Okay. So the link that we've used today is the same link we'll be using every Monday for our class. So there will be no resending. We'll just be using the same. Any
Okay.
other?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, Joseph Ogile.
Yes, I had a question here on the strategies for promoting public health hygiene.
Mhm.
Would you please expound more on the technological innovation? Yes.
Technological innovation.
Yeah.
So, let's take, mara mingi sasa hivi unaona watu wanakimbia barabarani. They do exercise ama wanaenda kwa gym. Okay? So what someone will be doing when you are busy exercising on the road or going to a gym, you are trying to deal with your weight. Unajaribu kupunguza weight yako. So how you do that? Why it is important kupunguza weight? Sababu ukishafika adolescence huwa huwezi refuka beyond there significantly. Okay, but you can change your weight but not your height. So those two things, weight and height, zinakusaidia kukuonyesha how likely you are kupata obesity. So there are apps zenye ziko, kwa mfano kama uko na kilo, maybe you have 100 kilos. So all you are trying to do ni kupunguza hiyo kilo yako. You want to bring it down maybe to 70. Because umeona, if you have a weight of 70 with your height, your BMI yenye utapata haitakuwa risky for obesity. So you have an app on your phone, which is a technological innovation. You have an app on your phone. So it is that app ndio utakuwa unapima kilo yako, ukipata leo ni 82, unaenda 82, kwa hiyo app inakupatia your BMI. Unaona hiyo. So it is a technological innovation that you are using to ensure that you are dealing with your health. There are people also who have apps kwa simu zao za kufanya morning exercise. So umeona hizo apps zenye you can do, unaweka kwa smartphone yako, unaweka smartphone mbele, then you begin now to do what the person who is on the app is doing. So such as innovations in technology that help you to deal with some aspects of your health. Okay, so it is not someone who is coming to do it for you, but you are doing it with the help of a technology that was innovated. So that is a technological innovation. Sawa Joseph.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Any other? Naona watu wengine. Bravin says, if nimegongewa na niko na stress, naweza fanya aje? Okay, Bravin. One of the things is to ensure that please mute yourself. Mute yourself, please. Yeah, okay, thank you. So, kama umegongewa na stress imekushika, kweli itakushika. One of the questions you need to ask yourself is, huyo mtu wako naye mbona sasa ni mtu tu wa kugongewa? Kwani how low is the level of that person? So the first thing you might now need to do is to ask yourself, is that the person you want to have a relationship with? That's the first thing. Then the second thing is, if you have someone that you can talk to, okay, share it with someone. Share it with a person mwenye atakusaidia ku overcome that stress. Okay. Because one of the things unaweza fanya, unaweza shtukia umeamua tuacha niende nichukue kisu nidunge huyu mtu. That's the easiest to do. Because you are stressed. Okay. But if you found someone that you can share with, mwambie yenyewe, girlfriend yangu, nimepata hii maneno imefanyika. There will be someone who will help you to walk through it. Akwambie kama imetendeka hivyo, fanya hivi. But the most important thing is for you to ask yourself, Kama ni if it's a girlfriend or boyfriend who has the pass mark so low that anybody anaweza gonga, and then you don't need that one. Okay, so that will be the beginning of it all. Is a cause of stress, yes, but do you need that source of stress constantly in your life? I think my answer is no. So share your stress, but most importantly, avoid the source of the stress. Who is that person? Change. Find a different person. Someone mwenye ako na pass mark ya juu. So sio kila mtu tu mwenye anapita anapitia pass mark ya kugonga. Si sasa wewe utakufa stress bwana. Ukigongewa kila wakati. Lucy Ongachi. Is it true that a person who is HIV positive, when takes Panadol and tests again using the kit, will show negative? No, it is not true. Okay, that we call those fallacies, false explanations. They are fallacies. That is not true, Lucy. We'll talk about it later. Kuna mtu alikuwa ameongelea hapa kitu ya food contamination, but imesonga haraka. Sijui kama nitaipata. Looked very nice to talk about that. If you are the person who posted about food content, okay, about food hygiene, they are types of food that if stays for 2 days, the microscopic organisms start to grow. How will it be preserved? Like kangumu. Okay. I didn't want to turn this into a biology lesson, but the best way to deal with foods is no, kama ni mkate, kama ni kangumu, at most ilale siku moja. Usitake kununua kangumu pakiti mzima ukule wiki yote. See, along the way, surely there will be microorganisms growing. So if you want bread, buy bread yenye unajua utakula siku mbili at most, iko imeisha. Okay. For most breads utapata iko na the sell by date. So ukinunua angalia hiyo tarehe. For kangumus is difficult because these days almost everybody anatengeneza na hawezi weka hiyo tarehe. Okay, so avoid foods that will stay, zitaribika tu ikilala siku moja siku mbili. Hiyo nunua leo, nunua jioni, kunywa chai asubuhi, ile inabaki kula saa 4, kwisha maneno. You reduce chances of being contaminated through food. Kama umepika chakula kwa nyumba, the way you store it to avoid contamination is also important, because that is now what we call, it causes food poisoning. Okay, it causes food poisoning. So I will not turn it into a biology class, but just ensure that you have just enough food. Kama ni kupika chakula, pika ile chakula yenye unajua itaisha haraka. Sio umepika githeri 4 days later bado unakula tu. Surely sio italeta shida. You end up now with kupata shida ya tumbo sababu githeri imemaliza wiki moja na bado unakula. So just ensure you cook enough yenye itaisha within a day or 2, so that you also reduce on the risks of contamination from it. Yeah, kuna mtu ameweka hapo soup loading. It's true. Ukicheza supu inakuja. Ukicheza kabisa unapata tu soup tu. Okay, if there is no other.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I think there is the notes that we have is very different from the one you are.
Yes,
taking.
and I knew that will come up because most of you mulipata zenye nilifunza nazo last year.
Yes, because
those are not the ones I sent. Okay, those are not the ones I sent. Wengi wenyu mulipewa na wenye wako second year akawaambia hizi ndio walitumia. Okay, for me I keep changing. I cannot use the same notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? I'm looking at the messages to see. Joy says start afresh sir. Ndio nimeanza kuelewa sasa. Surely Joy. Surely my dear. You can come to ABC 310 Joy. I can repeat it. Lakini sasa hivi unajua watu karibu wanaenda class nyingine. ABC 310 Monday, Wednesday, Friday utanipata. I can repeat it. I can repeat any aspect yenye ulitaka. Kuna mtu anasema unaweza dhani ni jokes, kumbe ni ukweli uko na ukimwi. We'll look at that. Okay. I think we just means Daktari, please remind us the 4 stages of HIV. I'm only remembering the window. Yeah, we will come into that. Let's not jump the gun. Tutafikia tu. Mtu anasema, does that mean notes za ODEL zitawekwa tena? Notes sio za ODEL. ODEL is just a medium of mimi na wewe kukutana. Okay? So hakuna notes za ODEL. Zitakuwa notes za KUC 1230. Sawa. Zitakuwa notes za KUC 1230. I'll upload them on the ODEL learning portal in the unit, so utaipata. Okay. Guiding and counseling iko side gani? In the university, you go to the dean of students. If you have an issue, you go to the dean of students, or if there is a lecturer whom you think you can approach kama uko na challenge, then yeye atakuelekeza. So at times, even most of you might not know where the dean of students office is, but unaweza jua lecturer fulani. You just approach the lecturer, open up, then atakuelekeza. So, does a person with O positive get HIV? Yes, you get. Okay. So I think there is no other. Someone is saying, sir, ukweli ARVs haziko sawa. Yeah, US unajua imepunguza funding kidogo, so ARVs imepunguka. So the only thing now we should deal with more is about prevention. Okay, because sasa ARVs kidogo hazipatikani venye zilikuanga. Okay, someone mwingine anasema ati anauza P2 Valentines, karibu inafika. Okay, we'll deal with all that when we come to sex education. So I'm just reading through the comments.
Yes, that doc, maybe in addition, students to enroll on the e-learning.
Yes.
So that within some few weeks, shall having our first assessment. So students should enroll to the e-learning course as soon as possible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Makti. Yes, you guys ensure you've enrolled. The last time watu wenye walikuwa na a lot of missing marks ni kwamba walikuwa hawajaregister for the unit na walikuwa pia hawakuenroll. So umemark marks ya mtu uko nayo but unashindwa utaweka wapi. Sawa. So enroll for the course. If you have a challenge, you reach out. Usinyamaze tu peke yako. You go to ODEL, they will help you so that you are enrolled. Because itafika mahali itafungwa. There's someone who was sharing the enrollment key. Please share it. Someone is asking kwamba the enrollment key ni gani. There's someone who shared it. I remember niliona pahali. Let me share it. Nimeiona hapa. I've shared the enrollment key. Shared the enrollment key. Should be KUC 1230 Jan 2025, all that capital. Okay, so we will stop at that. If there is no question, then we'll meet again next week on Monday as from 8. So I've said if you have an issue, come ABC 310, either on you come on Monday, on Wednesday, or on Friday. Utanipata. Tuesday, Thursday, hapana, sipatikani. Takuwa nimeenda out. Sawa. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, Makdi, you can, I think, end the class. Thank you.